Thanks for joining us as we talk about buying things from garage sales, thrift stores, and flea markets and reselling them on eBay for a profit. I'm John, that's Devin, and we're the Severe Thrifters. Hey everybody, today's episode we're going to talk about shipping. It's kind of a loaded question and there's a lot to talk about, but we're going to try to squeeze it into like a half-hour show. Thank you for joining us. If you don't know already, we are eBay resellers looking to make a profit. We are kind of recording our journey and throwing it on a podcast. So without further ado, let's talk about some shipping, Devin.
Yeah.
Well, I know for me, when we first started, which we're not that, if you guys have listened to our previous episodes, we know that, or you guys know that we haven't been doing this very long. So the shipping thing, in my opinion, was probably the largest learning curve for me. Listing wasn't too bad. I felt like figuring out pricing wasn't too bad. I mean, we had a lot of hiccups wrong, but shipping is one of those. I made a huge mistake, and I know it now. I guess I don't want to put the cart before the horse. Let's, I guess, slow it down a little bit, or do you want to hear the story?
Well, I guess we'll hear the story. You already brought it
Well,
up.
okay. It's kind of like fast forward, and then we'll come back to what we should be doing. I just thought use the USPS website, so USPS.com, so the United States Postal Service, and they have this click and ship, and you sign up for it, and the money comes directly out of whatever account you choose, and you just can print on your own printer, which to me made sense. Mm-hmm. And so I've done that for a while until I've watched some other YouTubers and they use these thermal printers. And I realized how much money I'm throwing away using the USPS directly. I started using eBay's printing network, if you call it that. You'd be amazed at how much money I'm saving now.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, and I had no idea.
It even tells you that you're saving X amount of money.
I guess I was just maybe scared. Yeah, because I didn't know how to use it.
Well, I know you told me to start using that, and I was looking into it, and I actually figured out how to ship one of the things, and it was like $4 more expensive than what it would have been if I shipped it through eBay. And I was like, heck no. I'm going to save my $4 and use eBay's. And it worked out. I mean, it's worked out for me.
And I just now have started to see the repercussions of using the USPS directly versus using the eBay shipping program, because I am really seeing how much money I threw away now that I've been using it for the last probably 2 weeks of the 4, because I'm like in week 5 and a half of doing eBay reselling. So for the first 2 weeks I was doing USPS just straight through their website, using my own printer, using my own labels and all that stuff, which we'll get into that in just a minute. But I guess I knew eBay had their shipping program, but I didn't know what it entailed. I had no clue what I was going to have to do. So I guess I was more scared of, like, what am I getting myself into? Mm-hmm. I realize now I should have been doing that from the get-go.
It's easier,
too. So the biggest, we'll go back to maybe step 1 here in just a second, but I want you all to know is don't be afraid of that eBay shipping program. Get enrolled in it and use it. Trust me, it will save you a ton of money. I'm sending stuff out for $2.90. I couldn't. The cheapest I've ever sent anything through the USPS was $4.35, and that's basically a flat envelope with one little thing in it.
Yeah,
I am definitely saving a ton of money. The new rates have gone up for the post office because of the holidays. So a medium flat rate, I think, is right around like $9.15 to ship it.
Yeah.
When you use eBay, it's like $8. What is it now, $8.15? I know it doesn't sound like a huge savings, but when you are shipping the quantity that you hope to be shipping, that adds up big time and quickly.
Yeah.
And so I guess what we'll do is we'll just rewind now and go back to the basics of shipping.
Yeah, everyone listens like, I don't know what y'all are even talking about.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, we haven't even shipped anything yet.
We haven't even sold anything yet. What are you talking about? So you guys, if you've been listening to our episodes, you have a kind of an idea of how to list. You have an idea of finding the correct pricing. You have an idea of photography, how your picture should be looking.
Yep.
Now, like Devin said last episode, you've sold something. Now we have to get it shipped. Mm-hmm. That, to me, was probably not the scariest thing, but I really didn't know what I was getting myself into, because when you become a reseller or you want to resell, you have so many different items, different sizes, weight, crazy stuff. I had no clue what you could do or what you could not do when it comes to shipping. And I think that that's a huge, huge ordeal because now I'm starting to learn the hard way, and I'm going to share with you what I've learned, and you guys don't have to go down that same path and mess up because I've had to rebox things there at the post office because they won't take it.
Really?
In certain boxes. Yeah. There's certain boxes that have, if you have you can use used boxes.
Yeah.
But if they have certain printing on it, they won't allow it.
Really?
There was one box, it's an online wine company. So I packed a bunch of stuff in it, went to send it out because it was an eBay sale, and went up to the window, or the little counter there, and the guy's like, "That we can't take that box." I'm like, "Why not?" Well, it's because it says wine on it.
Huh.
And I was either going to have to rebox it, or they were nice enough to give me like a roll of labels, like white sticky labels, and I had to stick them over the top of the word wine.
Huh.
Yeah, so you have to be careful what boxes you use.
Well, I know I used to work at Staples, and we did our UPS shipping stuff, and there were certain things you could not ship. You couldn't ship stuffed animals. I don't know if they necessarily meant stuffed as in like teddy bears or stuffed as
like
in
taxidermy.
Taxidermy. You couldn't ship it for some reason. You couldn't ship it. You couldn't ship any liquids at all.
None at all.
None. No liquids. Nothing with blades. They wouldn't let us ship anything with blades on it. And I mean, don't get me wrong. I was able to put in there that, it was a pencil case. And it wasn't actually a pencil case. I don't feel the need to be like, it has a blade in it. Like, they shouldn't be able to ship it. That's stupid, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with you. What difference does that make?
Yeah. So if you would have, before you went, crossed out that wine label with a Sharpie marker or something, would they have been like, "Oh, that's fine"?
Yeah.
It's just because it said wine.
Because it said wine.
What if it was wine inside the box?
Because they ask you if it's perishable, liquid, batteries.
So you'd
blah,
have just
blah,
had
blah,
to
blah.
say no.
I would have just said no. Yeah.
And they would have been like, "Okay, we'll take it."
Yeah. Because I don't know if this stuff goes through a scanner.
I don't think it does.
I don't know.
It might. I don't know. I feel like they're not worried about wine as much as they are like drugs and stuff.
Right. Or live animals.
Yeah. So I don't know.
It barked at me. No, that's just a stuffed animal. Don't worry about it.
I use used boxes all the time, and I haven't had an issue. Granted, I just do the drop and run. I just drop it off at the counter, and I'm like, "See you guys." Because do you wait in line?
Yes, and there's
You
a
don't
reason
have
for
to.
it. I know that, but there's a reason I'll discuss that. Why I'm scared. I'm anal about what I do. And I know you haven't had a problem with it
Haven't
yet.
had a problem.
So let's go back, okay? Let's say you sold something.
Okay.
What's going to be the easiest thing?
Do you want to ship it, or do you want to put it in a box?
Let's say we just sold something, and so now we have to package it. How do we package it?
We'll do two things.
Well, yeah.
You sell a lighter, and then you sell a pan.
Okay.
So the lighter, obviously, is going to be able to fit into a shipping envelope.
Yep, and you could use one of those padded. You can go buy. I'll just tell you what I use, and that might make it a little easier. It's 9 inches long, 7 inches wide, and it's got the bubble wrap already on the inside of the envelope. It's called a padded envelope, and I get like different colors because they're really cheap. Mm-hmm. That's one of my main small item.
Where did you get yours from?
Amazon.
You get yours from Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so for most of you who are starting out and are only selling a few things a week, I wouldn't recommend dumping because I'm assuming you buy yours in bulk.
Yeah, 100 at a time.
Okay. I go to Walmart and you can buy a 15-pack of them for like $8 or something.
Well, there
like
you
that,
go.
which is about the same price as Amazon. I think it's a few dollars cheaper on Amazon because you're buying so many. But if you're just getting started, Walmart, Staples, maybe not Staples, definitely don't go to Walgreens. They have theirs is like super one of those envelopes at Walgreens, $5.
Oh yeah, don't do that.
Don't do that.
Don't do that.
Buy as many as you can at a time because you always will use them. It's crazy how many times I've had them and I've had to use them for something else. I'm like, it works great. Like I've used them as padding. I've cut them up and used them as padding.
What you could.
for
It's
glass.
bubble wrap. What difference is it? Yeah.
I would recommend going to Walmart first before you start buying hundreds of stuff, just in case you may get started and you're like, this isn't for me.
That's
now,
true.
Now you're
got 100
invested.
padded envelopes.
Exactly. You've got 100 of those, 100 boxes, stuff like that. So I would recommend just going to Walmart and getting them. But if you want to buy 100 of them, do it. It's a lot cheaper.
And I think a lot of it, and you bring up a good point, maybe don't go into that big of an ordeal buying quantities. Because honestly, you don't know the type of things that you're really going to be selling until you get going.
Yeah.
Because you will fall into a niche.
Yeah.
You will kind of fall into. You've sold a lot of glassware. Mm-hmm. Those little padded envelopes don't help you worth a darn.
No,
right?
Not at all.
So don't waste your. I see what you're saying. You go out and buy 5 or 10 to start with.
Yeah.
And see if that'll work for you. It will work for certain things. I pack a lot of my stuff into those because a lot of the stuff I sell is smaller.
Yeah.
It's just that's the way it works.
And you'll know what you're obviously have already listed it on eBay. Don't buy your shipping supplies before you list stuff.
Right.
Get it all listed and say, oh, I've got 18 things that can fit into a shipping envelope. There's no need to buy a box then.
Yeah,
you have
so
no reason
so
to go
look
buy
at the
boxes.
items that you have. If you have 15 items, all random size, but they'll fit into a common envelope.
And they won't break.
And they won't break yet. We won't get into glass yet, but just standard items. We'll just say, use something easy.
Little
cassette
radios.
tape
Yeah,
or
cassette tapes.
Walkmans, things like that.
DVDs.
DVDs. Get kind of an average size and buy just one envelope of a size that all of those will fit into. Don't try to carry 15 different size envelopes.
Yeah.
It's not worth it. I've tried that at the beginning.
And it's about the same price to buy a bigger one than it is to buy a smaller one.
100% agree. Because, guys, really what it's based off of is everything under 16 ounces. So you can't, when you go on to purchase a shipping label on eBay, once you sell something, you'll be given an option, purchase a shipping label. If you click on that, you will be prompted to a screen where it says you have to enter the weight and then the dimensions of the package. You do have an option. You could use a custom package, which would be the package that you have, that you want to use, that you've bought yourself, or carrier package, which would be the USPS provides you, and we'll talk about that, provides you with boxes and envelopes and stuff, but you're required to use their shipping program with those particular boxes and envelopes. So if you do a custom envelope, like these padded ones we're talking to you about, you're going to put in anywhere from 15 ounces on down, you will get a first class rate. So you'll always, anything under 16 ounces, you will always, always, always ship USPS first class. That is hands down the cheapest rate.
Yeah.
So you can't type in 16 ounces. It won't take it. So some programs, like my desktop, you can't do 15.5. It's either 15 or 16. You can't use decimals. But if I use my iPad, it allows me to do 15.6 ounces or something like that.
For all of you that's confused, if your package is less than a pound, you can ship it for cheap. If it's more than
First
a pound.
class.
Now, if you put in your item description, not your description, your shipping selection or whatever it is, you have a shipping option when you're listing everything.
When you're listing.
Put in exactly what you've got, and it'll just give you the cheapest option. That's what I do, and it's the same as what you get. It classify it for you and automatically pull it up. Because if it's over, it doesn't even have to be over 16 ounces. If it's over 12 inches, it doesn't matter. If it's in a box, you don't get first class.
I do.
I don't.
Below my 16 ounces.
Mine doesn't.
Yeah,
if it's above a 12-inch box for me, doesn't have me do it. Doesn't allow me. It's like
weird.
It's like $8 for me to ship a
But
box.
odds are, if you've got something that's over 12 inches, odds are it's going to weigh more than a pound.
Yeah.
I mean, there's very few things that you're going to have that are over a foot long or a foot wide that's less than a pound.
Yeah,
There's not
absolutely.
too many things you're going to run into that you'll be reselling. But for the most part, when you list, you're given options of shipping. You can't list without providing that information when you list with shipping. They will guide you, if you're new to this, to which one you should use. It's not always the cheapest I found. I have gone through, but I've made all the mistakes, and that's I know. But at the beginning, it'll guide you. So anything under 16 ounces, first class. Just remember that. Anything under 16 ounces, first class. Anything 16 ounces and above, really the cheapest way to go about it is priority. USPS priority mail. Now, there is an umpteen number of different priority mail selections. I mean, there is an entire list.
Yeah.
If you want to use your own custom box or your own custom package, whether it's a big bag or something that you want to ship it in, say it's a really large plush animal, you don't have to put it in a box. If it's over a pound, you can use just the one that says USPS priority mail. What that provides you is you use any box you want. Under 70 pounds, you get charged by the weight and the size of the package. They also have the option, and a lot of you might already know this, is you have priority mail flat rate boxes provided from the USPS, which you have small flat rate, medium flat rate, and large flat rate boxes. You can order them off the USPS website, and they're free. They will ship them to you for free. But the only way you could use those boxes is to pay for that select service. So you can't use a large flat rate box and try to go in there and do a first class, if it's under 16 ounces, a first class mail option. You can't. You have to use the large flat rate. You don't have a choice. And I've tried to sneak around it. I even tried to wrap those boxes in the brown paper. them guys know.
Yeah.
They know. When you get up there, they're like, yeah, that's a large flat rate. I'm like, man, he's good.
Yeah.
You know, I thought if I just wrapped it, because it was pretty light, it doesn't matter. So don't try to beat them. They know the sizes of their boxes. And you can't even, like I do, I'll tell you guys a little secret. I take a lot of boxes and I cut one edge and turn it inside out if it's got stuff on the outside that you're afraid, like if it says wine. There's one edge that's overlapped and glued. You can cut it with a knife, and I flip it around. It's like I'm turning it inside out, and then I just retape that edge and reuse the box.
That's what I do.
You can't do that on large flat rate. They put printing on the inside of the box that says large flat
Really?
rate USPS. Yeah, them little dirty birds.
Well, they got to make their money somehow.
Yeah, they know about guys like me, don't they?
Yeah. We've done this a time or two. You're not the first eBay reseller to come along.
Right. You guys can order flat rate boxes through the post office, USPS.com, and they'll ship to your house. And you could use those boxes. They're free of charge. It costs you nothing, but you're required to use that select service. If it's a small flat rate, I couldn't tell you what the rates are right now. They change. Mm-hmm. But I think a medium flat rate right now is $9.15. So they give you, it's a particular size box. And you can't have the lid sticking way up in the air because your item was a little big for the box. They will make you redo it. They've made me redo one because it I bellowed out the sides a little bit.
I can't believe they made you redo so much stuff. They have yet to say anything to me. They've yet to complain about anything I've...
Well, it's because you throw the box at them and run.
Yeah, and they have yet to complain. They haven't sent me another package yet.
Really?
They have done nothing. Everything on mine is, I guess, legit. Granted, before I ship my stuff, when I put it in the item description or shipping description or whatever, I put in what box I'm going to use to ship it. Because I have a pretty good knowledge of, it's a chunk of glass. I'm not going to ship it in a packing envelope. I already know this.
Yep, right.
So I'm going to ship it in a 12 by 10 by 15 or something like that and put some foam in there and ship it that way. So I automatically put all that in there. And the way I weigh it is I weigh it with the box and stuff like that because it's like I'm not going to try to pay less and then have to sit there and redo it all. Right. In front of them, or have them be like, oh no, this is not right, you're gonna have to go home and redo it. Right. Because then I'm like out all this time you could be using to buy more stuff and possibly double your amount of money. I made that mistake. I went to go print out a shipping label and it didn't print out on my computer. I couldn't get it to work. Well, no, I couldn't get it to work on my phone. So I went to my computer and it made me pay for another one to try to print it out that way. And it never sent me the email. I tried contacting them and they're like, oh, this is how you do it. And it just wouldn't work.
So you paid shipping twice.
I ended up having to pay for shipping twice because I couldn't get the label.
And so there's a lesson for you guys too. But let me take a step back. I remembered something as you were talking about it. Weighing. Get yourself a little scale.
They're cheap.
I personally use a food scale. But they're only good up to 5 pounds. Yeah. Mine goes to air mode. I'm going to be buying one that has the screen that reads out that's on a cord. Because what happens when you get bigger boxes, you can't see the display numbers when you set a big box on my little scale. So I'm going to upgrade now. But I've been using that scale for a long time, and it's very accurate. I've never had them come back and say, well, no, this is different. Yeah. You always round up.
Yeah.
Yep. If it's a 6.5 ounces, say 7. Just do it. And it's not going to, you're never going to notice the difference in pricing. The biggest one you're going to have is in that 15 to 16 ounce range when you're really cutting it close to a pound, but you're trying, because if you keep it under a pound, typically you're in between $3 and $5 for shipping, right? Once you hit that pound, it's up $8 right now. That's $8.15 is the cheapest you'll see. Once you hit a pound. So if you've packaged something and when you weigh, like you just said, you have to weigh everything together. All the bubble wrap, the tape, the product that's inside, the box. If you throw a thank you note, throw an empty one in there. You want to get as close as you can. You can't weigh just the item. Mm-hmm. Now you can if you're just trying to get an idea of how much everything's going to weigh. But when it comes to the USPS and how they weigh, it's everything all together. I know that sounds maybe like shipping for dummies, but some people don't know that. Yeah. So I wanted to at least say that,
And that brings me to another thing.
Go.
If you're gonna sell something, weigh it and then put in your description whether the buyer is gonna pay for shipping or not.
Good point.
If you're gonna send it off and you're about to pay $12 for shipping, either A, up your price $12 and give them free shipping, or B, don't give them free shipping and make them pay for it.
Yeah. Get used to selling the small stuff first, and you brought up a good point, and I'm going to make sure everybody understands it. Weigh your item before you list it. So you have an idea when you get into that shipping section of the listing, you know whether or not you want to do free shipping or you're going to have them pay, because shipping can get out of hand.
Mm-hmm.
Large flat rate boxes are great because they will hold up to, I think they say, was it 70 or 150 pounds or something, a large flat rate. But it will cost you $21, $22 to ship.
Yeah.
If you just bought something for $20 and you sold it for $40 and you're going to do free shipping and you just now got to pay $22 for shipping, you've lost money.
Yeah.
So adjust your price accordingly, like you said. Up the price of your item. If you want to offer free shipping, that's fine, because a lot of people use that technique to sell.
Yeah.
Which is to each their own. I don't care. I kind of do both depending on what the item is, because I'm getting good enough to look at something and say, well, it's only going to cost me $3.50 to ship.
Yeah.
I'll do free shipping.
If it fits in the palm of your hand and it's not lead or gold, you pretty much don't have to worry about your shipping as much. I mean, you're going to
talking
be
$3, $4, $5.
You're going to be $5 or less, basically.
Just figure $5. Yeah.
Always high end it.
And you could always bump the price up of your. If you go on the sold comps, you'll see what everybody else is doing, and you're just going to have to find a technique that works for you. I do a little of both. The majority of what I sell, the buyer pays shipping. The majority. I don't want to mess with it.
It's easier.
Yeah, it is easier. But yes, weigh your item before you list it, so you have an idea of going into it how much shipping is going to be either for the buyer or for you if you offer the free shipping. So you're going to need a little scale of some sort. I will get on my home weight scale and weigh myself, and then I get off, and then I'll hold the object in my arms and get back on the scale and see if there's a difference. Is not accurate enough. I've had one thing that I tried that on. It was a big cutting board that I had made, and I went to ship it, and it was way heavier than the 5-pound limit on my little scale. So I was like, yeah. So I got on the scale, showed that I was 135 pounds. Wink, wink, nudge.
Yeah. Sure it did.
Add another 100.
Yeah.
I got off. I kind of like hugged the cutting board, got back on the scale. I'm like, oh, well, it's about 14 pounds. And so I went to the post office. They charged me more because the weight was off.
Yeah.
And they'll charge you more. Or if you're a Devon and you drop and run,
they could send it back.
They'll send it back to you. If they want to, if you didn't cover, like the postage that you had prepaid isn't enough to cover the weight of the item, they will send it back to you.
They haven't done to me
Yet.
So, and I know there's been times where I for sure put the wrong amount of weight or wrong size on the box, like on the shipping label. I know for a fact that I've done it, and they just haven't sent it. I don't know if I just got lucky, or
I think a lot of it is the hubs. I've heard some horror stories from around the country of people and their post office employees are just awful.
Now,
ours are pretty good.
That brings me to, you can drop your USPS boxes off at FedEx.
Really?
And they will take them.
No kidding?
Yes. The FedEx drop-off point, we have one at Walgreens. You can drop it off there, and it'll scan in for the most part, and you can ship it.
Really?
There's certain things that for some reason don't work. But FedEx employees will take USPS, and I've talked to them before and been like, "Hey, why do you guys take USPS?" And they're like, "Oh, we just do. I don't know. We just take them."
Huh?
So I don't think UPS does it. I think it's just FedEx.
I guess put that in your back pocket if you're ever in a need to get something shipped right away.
Yeah.
And your post office is closed. That might be an option for you.
Oh yeah, because and see the thing is though, the FedEx employees only run the same time USPS employees run. It's not going to bump it any faster. It doesn't get done any faster.
Oh.
If your post office is closed and you can't ship it, you can drop it off somewhere, but they're not going to ship it until the next day when the FedEx driver gets there. I mean, they still work.
You're going to feel like you're winning, but you're not.
You're not.
It's not
it doesn't bump it in. You get it dropped off faster. It's less on you. So if you only have an hour of the day and you can only make it to a FedEx drop-off point, drop it off there, because you don't have that next day to drop it off, which is great. It's great convenience, but it doesn't actually get it shipped out any faster.
So I guess if that was somebody, if you lived more remotely,
yeah,
and you had to drive into town a little ways and you happen to be there, but the post office happened to be closed, you could drop it off and say, hey, at least I got this done.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. So, and I think that's good to have those types of things in your back pocket and know the drop-off points. Like, we're rural, so we have a mailbox. I do leave packages out for the mail lady, and she picks them up, scans them in.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. You can just leave them out there. I'm not comfortable leaving like big boxes out there. I try to fit what I can in a big mailbox, and I've even stacked boxes on top of the mailbox because legally nobody's supposed to touch it. But like today, I have 7 packages going out. I'm
Yeah.
not going to just throw that at the poor mail lady.
Yeah, I've got 2 big ones. I'm like, there's no way I can put this next to
Yeah.
the mailbox. She'll not even see them.
Yeah.
She'll just drive on by them.
So, okay. So you guys have a scale. You've weighed your item. You've typed in the amount when you've clicked on print or purchase shipping label. You've gone through all that. And at the very bottom right, it's going to say purchase shipping label. And that's where you'll have to have an account set up either through eBay or USPS.com. Have an account set up and it will start to charge you, and then it will ask you how you want to pay.
Do it through eBay.
Do it. Yeah, it is easy. I switched over to that, and it's way easier. I was doing PayPal.
It's faster.
But, yes,
10
it
times
is.
faster. It'll take it out of your
Payouts.
Yeah, so you won't even have to. You still have to have your bank account hooked up to it, but you won't even see it taken out of your bank account. It'll just take it out of your payout. So if you sell something for $40 and you go to ship it, and it's $8 to ship it, you're gonna just get $32 instead of your $40.
Yeah, so that's a good point that you brought that up, because if you're new to eBay, you're not going to know about payouts. They pay out. You can select how often you get paid through eBay when you sell items. And if you sign up for the eBay shipping program, you can select how the shipping is paid for. And if you go through eBay, they will just deduct that shipping out of your payouts. So you never really see yourself getting charged. Your payouts are just not as much as you would typically see. Like, oh, I sold that for $40. Why am I only getting $32? Well, they deducted the $8 for shipping.
Yeah.
That is and you're right, it's way faster because it clicks and just goes.
Oh yeah.
Like I use PayPal because something got messed up with my eBay just a couple days ago. For some reason, they expired my account. I have no clue why. I had to call them last night. It's all good now. So I was using PayPal, and you got to sit there and load up PayPal. It's got to purchase it. And then it just probably takes another 30 seconds, 45 seconds every single label that I make.
If you've got a bunch of stuff, I mean, it's going to take a lot longer. I can go downstairs, go on my computer, hit print label on 3 different ones. It'll print all 3 of them out, cut them out, put them on the box, good to go.
And that's what we'll talk about next, now that you said that, is do you go buy all these fancy labels? Do you buy a Rollo thermal printer?
No.
I say you get some cheap printing paper with your printer and print the dang thing out and take your pair of scissors if you want and cut the label out and tape it to your box.
Yep,
that is
that's
the
exactly
cheapest. It's not the quickest, but it is by far, hands down, the cheapest way of doing shipping labels.
Oh, yeah.
Right? I mean, hands
Absolutely.
down. I've got a thermal printer now.
Oh, you do?
Oh, and it's like fast. There it is. Done and sticky. Done. Super
Great.
awesome.
How much was it?
Oh, about $200 for a Rollo.
Yeah. So
Yeah. But
mean,
you can see
if you're doing enough to make that money, great.
because I was going through a lot of ink on my printer.
But when you're starting out,
Don't do that.
Don't do it.
Not yet.
just get you a cheap printer. You can find
Oh, you can go to thrift stores.
And
We're
find
the
them.
thrifters.
Yeah.
You can get it for $20-$30, and some of them have the ink, a brand new ink cartridge taped to the top of
and
it.
you don't need color ink.
No.
You don't need it.
No.
I don't have color ink in our printer. I
All
just
you
have
need is your black, guys.
a black, which is it was $20 for the extra large black, and I've printed out I don't know like 60 some shipping labels now. Some of them double, and they're fine.
Yeah.
I mean my ink is still running good. It's not even half empty or anything. It hasn't
Yeah.
gave me any updates on it, but I personally think a printer and printer paper is the way to go. It's the cheapest and fastest.
I've been doing that
How
for
much is thermal paper?
I ordered, I don't remember how much it is, but it's a stack of stickers. I mean, I'm talking probably 5 inches tall stack of it. I don't know. I don't remember right off the top of my head, but
Probably not as cheap as just printer paper.
no way near. Yeah. But the amount of time it saves, it's already sticky. It's got a perforation on it where you can just rip it off.
Which, if you're doing 10 stuff a day, that's the way to go.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're doing 1 or 2 things,
Stick to
maybe
your printer.
a day, just stick to your printer.
Yeah. It really is. I mean, I think we both started out that way. And I happen to have a paper cutter, one of those like machete looking.
Yeah.
And I was just using that to cut my. Some people have a Cricut at home, and they have those, like if you're into scrapbooking, they're called little paper cutters where you slide this wheel back and forth. If you want to do quick cutting,
I just use a razor blade. Just go around.
razor blades, scissors. Some people just fold it.
Yeah.
And then tape it to the box. You don't have to be pretty as long as it's legible.
And I don't even tape. Do you tape all 4 sides?
Not anymore. Before I did. I taped everything because if it got wet, that's where your label can get screwed up.
Oh, I don't do
So I would tape the entire label head to toe, but I don't have to now. The thermal stuff is like a waterproof paper.
Yeah, I don't do that.
Oh.
I just tape 2 sides. Good to go. Good to
Yeah.
go. I haven't had a problem yet. Now, if it's something that is on like a shipping envelope and I know like it's going to get wrinkled and ripped and stuff like that, possibly I'm going to tape all of it. But for the most part on a box, tape it. Good to go. Here you go. Drop it off front.
So you get 2 perspectives. You get John's, which is me, which is I'm anal about everything and scared that something's going to happen. And you have Devin's, who's more, I don't want to say carefree, but he's not as worried about it.
No.
He will worry about it when that problem exists.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
until then, he doesn't care.
Well, there's no need to worry. In my opinion, there's no need to worry about something that doesn't exist yet.
Yeah.
There's no point in worrying about a problem that hasn't even happened. I haven't ran into it yet. It's non-existent.
And your way to go is a good way to go, because in the amount of time that I spend extra making sure everything, I don't want to say is perfect, but almost perfect, I could have had another item listed.
Yeah. Or,
You could have outsourcing.
never would have had to do all that work.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
And
just
think
so
of the
much
amount
extra
of
work.
money that I'm spending on tape and packing peanuts and bubble wrap and all this stuff. I do repurpose boxes. I think that's just the best way of going about it.
Oh, yeah. You can.
100%. Because you can almost go to any store and say, can I have some boxes?
Oh, yeah.
Don't go
for
buying boxes.
And instead of bubble wrap, best thing to do is if you have like an Aldi's or something like that where you can go and get boxes and stuff, cut up your boxes, shred them up a little bit or something, throw them in there.
Yeah.
That's what I do with all my...
A lot of the bigger eBay resellers just use packing paper.
Yeah.
They said because it's just so much cheaper.
Well, I use just...
Or even newspapers.
Yeah, I just use newspapers from work. I'll grab them and be like, we're throwing these out anyways, might as well take them.
Yeah.
Or old magazines that we have, I'll take the paper, roll it up, throw it in the box,
You
good
might
to
as
go.
well repurpose it. There's no sense in it going in the dump if you
Exactly.
can use it, because it's going to go in the garbage once that person gets their item out, but at least you repurposed it.
Yep.
Got one more use out of it. So I guess in a nutshell, we're just trying to be, I don't want to say cheap, but frugal. I mean, because when you're first starting out, it's a slow process to start selling things. You guys might start listing and might not see a sale for your first week or 2. And don't be scared. Don't be thinking that you've done something wrong. It just takes time to get established.
Yeah.
So you have to stay on the cheap when it comes to packaging and when it comes to saving time, because you need to be outsourcing more stuff. You need to be listing more. The more you list, the better the chance you have at selling things. And that is the eBay algorithm. You have got to list consistently all the time.
I guess we can kind of say we've done a little bit of an experiment. I haven't listed in, probably 2 weeks?
Has it really been that long?
It's probably been about 2 weeks since we started doing the podcast, right?
Yeah.
Haven't listed since then.
Whoa, and I've listed every single day.
I have yet to sell. I've sold 2 things since then. 2 weeks, I've sold 2 things, and I've still got over 50 items on there. I've sold 2 things, that's it.
Oh.
And you've sold how many?
Oh, I'm probably 30, 40 items in that 2 weeks.
Yeah. So I think it really does depend on how often and how much you list. I think eBay favors the people who are making them money.
Constantly active.
Yeah.
Yes, because you're right. Because their eBay fees are 12 to 20%, depending on what it is.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
it's expensive. I sold that in my video, that just Mario Kart Double Dash game.
Yep. The GameCube game.
Yeah, the fees were like $12.
Well, you made a crap ton on it.
Well, I did make a crap ton, but
So-
that's an easy thing to ship. I shipped that off this morning. I took it, put it in a padded envelope, a 9x7. It slid in perfectly, threw a label on it. I was done.
Yeah.
It took me literally probably a minute and a half. I at first bubble wrapped it, and I'm like, what am I doing?
It's a game.
It's
in plastic.
It's already in a case,
Yeah.
and I'm putting it in bubble wrapped envelope. So it's like I took that off, slid it in. I was like, there's nothing going to happen to this thing.
Even if there is, it's, in my opinion, most of this glassware stuff, too, that I've sold for like 99 cents. I sold a glass Avon bottle for 99 cents. I wrapped it in cardboard, threw some tape around it, was like, if it breaks, it breaks. You can't spend $30. I think we talked about this in another
We did.
episode.
I was going to bring that up.
Well, you can't spend $30 on shipping something that you got $1 for. It's just not worth your time. It's not worth your
I
money.
think that's a good point, because that Mario game, that GameCube game, put it in there. If it gets broken, I refund his money and the $1 I spent to buy it.
You probably spent more money trying to package it with all your bubble wrap and stuff than you would have if you would have just shipped it out.
And there's a lesson to be learned here, guys. Your time is more valuable than most of the things that you think you need to spend your time on,
No,
like
we're not
packaging.
we're not like Gary Vee here. We don't say that have you heard this video of him?
Which one?
He swallows his gum.
Yes.
I swallow my gum to say that 1/100th of a second. I'm like, okay, dude, like you're 1/100th of a second. You're not about to get.
He has always swallowed it ever since he was little.
Multi-million-dollar deal, or he doesn't stop to tie his shoe until he gets to his destination. It's like that 10 seconds it took you to tie your shoe, nothing would have happened. I promise. And that 10 seconds wasn't worth your time. Maybe
in
for
the scheme
him,
of
but
things,
for us, it's not. But time is important.
Yeah, don't overdo the packaging. Make sure it's secure. Make sure it's taped up. But you don't have to tape every single edge of the box. I've gotten some packages in when I've ordered something, and you need a chainsaw to open it. I was like, you have wasted a whole roll of tape. Nothing was going to pop out of this thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And it depends on what you're shipping. If you're shipping something pretty heavy, where if someone was to pick it up and it was at the top of the box and they flipped it around real quick and it would fall through the bottom, if it was heavy enough to do that, maybe throw some extra tape on it. But for the most part, most of my stuff, I just do 2 pieces of tape over one side and 2 pieces on the other side, and that's it.
And that's exactly, you made me think of an example. I ordered some exotic woods. All right, the guy shipped it in a large flat rate game box, which is more elongated, only like 3 or 4 inches tall, but it's a really long box. It got to my house. There was no wood in it, but the USPS handed me the box.
There was no wood in it, though.
No, it had ripped open, and all the wood was gone, and they had a little label on it that said, sorry, hopefully this isn't an inconvenience for you, and handed me an empty box. It was empty. And I'm not kidding you. I had $300 in wood.
Are you kidding me?
Not one piece of wood in it. It was an empty box.
And they just said sorry.
They just put a sticker on it that said sorry.
Wow.
And so, of course, I had to contact the guy I bought it off of out of
I don't blame him.
New Jersey. It's not his fault, but I had to let him know what happened so he could file a claim, to try to get... Nothing was in it. It was an empty box. And it just goes to show he should have taped the ends out of those. You guys have to understand, there's a lot of postal employees. They're not... I have a great mail carrier. She is awesome. But there's a lot of them who just don't give a crap, and they will kick that thing around like a football. It goes up conveyors. It gets stuck. It gets ripped.
Oh, yeah.
Be conscientious when you're packing.
Yeah.
If it's glass, don't just throw it in a box, throw some tape on it, and send it.
I agree.
If it's a stuffed animal, you don't have to worry. I've seen people take bubble wrap and go around a stuffed. What's going to happen to it?
And honestly, though, you don't have to worry about too much. I said this in another episode. I have put glass inside of a bubble wrap packing envelope and sent it off, and it was fine. You don't have to worry about as much as you think you have to worry about. Now, the things that it seems like if there's a problem, it's a big problem. It's never a
minute.
It's never something is broken on the inside. It's always the package is opened, or it's soaking wet, or it's missing the item completely. It's never just there's a little chip in the glass. It's always the glass is completely shattered. One of the two. It's never one. And I feel like, I don't know if it's the conveyor belts. I feel like it's the employees just trying to throw it into a bucket to get it. Because I'm sure that's what they do. I'm sure they just throw it into a
I've witnessed them toss it.
Yeah.
Literally toss it over a wall into a bin.
Yeah.
I stood there and watched him do it.
So, it's not... They just don't care.
They don't care.
It's not their stuff.
Yeah. And it's sad. And they're not all like that. I'm not saying that they all are, but I've witnessed it. So I can safely say, yes, they do that.
Yeah, well...
Yeah. But
I know someone who works there. So.
You also got to keep into consideration that if you're sending stuff up or away haphazardly, like you're not doing a really good job of packaging, it could come back to haunt you in your ratings with feedback and stuff. Mm-hmm. There is a metric that eBay uses. They can use against you down the road as far as allowing you to sell on eBay. So don't just throw stuff in boxes just to get it shipped right away and get it there. You want to make sure it's somewhat nice. So when somebody opens it up, I guess put yourself in the buyer's shoes. How would you want to open that box? What do you want it to look like? And then just do that.
Yeah.
Just do what you think is right. But don't spend an hour packaging up one thing. It's not worth that because odds are you only spent between $1 and $5 on it.
Yeah.
And you're spending more than that in material to ship it, and you don't get paid for that. That money is not going to come back to you.
Now, I wonder, to make enough money on eBay, you don't have to fill out 1099, do you?
You will now.
So, with that being said, could you write the shipping products off?
You have to talk to your accountant, but there's starting next year, 2022, they restructured these third-party revenue builders. So it used to be with eBay, you could sell up to $19,000 and you wouldn't have to claim none of that on your taxes.
What is that, like $400?
$600.
600.
And so eBay will be sending you a 1099.
So you too, DoorDashers,
Yep.
1099s, you'll have to start filling them out.
Yep. Over $600.
Yep.
Which
made that.
nobody's not going to make that. I mean,
Yeah.
you will, as a reseller, if you get in and just start listing 5 things every single day or 3 things every single day, you will make more than $600.
Oh, yeah.
You guys, if you go do this, get the shipping, like I don't want to get too far off track because our time is like running thin right now.
Real thin.
Create a minimum 3 a day to start with. Make sure you do it every single day. Sell it, put a good price on it, look up your sold comps, take good pictures, and when it sells, ship it right away. Don't wait. Don't drag your feet. Ship it right away.
Yeah.
Trust me, that will get your rankings way up and you'll sell more. So make sure that you have your weight correct. So weigh everything right away. Make sure you package it up properly, but don't overdo it. Just package up properly. And if you need supplies, in my opinion, we're going to finish off on this. You need a little scale, which is the most helpful. Some sort of packaging tape. I don't care if it's the brown or clear. Don't have to go out and buy the super heavy duty stuff. Just buy the cheap packaging tape. Yep. Used boxes. Go to some store and just grab used boxes. Don't go to Home Depot and buy their moving boxes. You don't need to do that. Contact USPS.com and they will send you free boxes, free padded envelopes, free mailing envelopes. They're free, people. Free. And you can use those. Free, free, free. And then all you have to do now is figure out your printer with paper, and you're pretty much good to go. You could do packing peanuts if you want. You don't have to. Find old newspaper. You could use bubble wrap. Bubble wrap is probably a really good thing to have on hand, but it can be expensive.
Yeah.
But while you're out thrifting, garage sailing, I've been buying them at garage sales. Believe it or not, people will sell half rolls for $1.
Oh, yeah.
Just pick it up. Who cares? And if you see somebody throwing away packing peanuts, grab them.
Yeah.
Don't spend money on this stuff. So that will give you all the necessities to shipping an item that you sold, right? I mean, can you think of anything that I missed?
No, that's pretty much it. You actually don't even have to have all that. I mean, you can go pretty... You can
Basic.
do without the scale even. I mean, if you
That's
have
true.
a digital... Most of these digital scales will work. Mine digital scale works.
If you guys don't want to go through the scale and do all that online through the USPS or to eBay, you can just package stuff up and go stand in line at a post office and they'll weigh it and sell it now or ship it off. It's going to cost you a little bit more. You're going to have a little bit more time invested, but you don't have to worry about all that extra stuff. So just think you could do it all yourself with all those items that we just said, or you can just go stand in line at a post office and have them deal with it. And you guys are on your way. I really think if you have any questions or any comments or anything like that, go ahead and send us a message at severethrifters@gmail.com. Be sure to look at eBay, our store, severe_thrifters. On eBay, like I said, take a look at our store, kind of look at the pictures and things that we got going on there. On Instagram, at severe_thrifters or at severethrifters on Instagram. Can you think of anything else, Devin?
YouTube.
YouTube is probably the most important one.
Severe Thrifters.
Severe Thrifters on YouTube. Look us up. Make sure you like, subscribe, because subscribe will give you notifications of the next video that comes out. And I go over things like this.
Yep.
So,
in next episode, we'll probably just talk about, we've done shipped everything, maybe reviews, a little bit of everything. I think we'll talk about all of it together.
Yeah, that sounds good. Kind of a refresher, mush it all together in one episode to kind of...
Yep. And then maybe we'll start some challenges after that.
Oh, that'll be fun.
So I think that'd be a good time.
Well, thanks, guys, for listening. Like I said, make sure you guys download this episode. Go back and watch the previous 4, because I think this is episode 5. So thank you for, I was going to say watching, but thank you for listening. I appreciate it. I'm John.
I'm Devin.
And we're the Severe Thrifters.